Catherine Howard.
Right, and what happened to her?
That's what happened to her. Considering Henry VIII, he probably divorced her or beheaded her. Let's see. He divorced her. Did he behead Catherine Howard?
He did. You've got 18 points.
That Professor Charles Van Doren could have answered his questions on America's biggest quiz show unaided isn't in doubt. After all, personal achievement aside, he was the son of two notable 20th century literary icons. However, as the show's producers predicted, what remains debatable is, could America's fascination with him have outlived its appetite for tragic heroes? Van Doren was all the tonic, 21, a quiz show that ruled American culture at the onset of television, needed. At the time, former U.S. Marine Heb Stemple had gone on a 6-week winning streak of the show. Initially, Stemple was adored by the American audience. He had all the sellable qualities of a penniless underdog who had served his country in World War II, and with his brilliant mind returned to college upon completion of his tour of duty. Optics aside, Stemple had a unique retentive memory and had reportedly breezed through high school, skipping years at a rate his mother found alarming. Of himself, Stemple would later claim his score of 251 out of 363 questions was the highest score ever achieved on 21's grueling 3.5-hour qualification test. Yet, as ratings proved, TV audiences now wanted more.
You want the viewer to react emotionally to a contestant. Whether he reacts favorably or negatively is really not that important. The important thing is that he react. He should watch a contestant hoping that the contestant will win, or he should watch a contestant hoping the contestant will lose. And Herb, I felt, was a type of personality who would instill the latter. Viewers would watch him and pray for his opponent to win.
Show producers Dan Enright and Albert Friedman did what they had almost always done. They fixed the show. Yes, but for that one pilot episode which show sponsors, pharmaceutical company Geritol, deemed a dismal failure, every episode since was coached for dramatic effect. And the audience loved it, watching their recent favorite contestants eventually fall to new contestants, sometimes at the price of looking stupid. Enright and Friedman would build up the reputations of individuals who otherwise would have attained these reputations on their own, and at the drop of a hat, leave them crushed.
The first show of 21 was not rigged, and the first show of 21 was a dismal failure. It lacked all drama, it lacked all suspense. And next morning, the sponsor called my partner Jack Barry and me and told us in no uncertain terms that he never wanted to see a repeat of what happened the previous night. And from that moment on, we decided to rig 21.
This time around, they recruited a brilliant academic, Charles Van Doren.
Of course, his uncle, Carl Van Doren, wrote a definitive biography of Benjamin Franklin. His father, of course, Mark Van Doren, was a Nobel Prize winner and a professor at Columbia University. His mother, Dorothy, I had heard of also. I knew it was a very preeminent literary family, and I just felt that they were grooming me to take the fall.
The night Charles Van Doren beat Herb Stemple, about 15 million viewers applauded Van Doren's triumph. As the nation's new hero, Charlie made the cover of Time. He received thousands of letters a week, including hundreds of marriage proposals.
Van Doren, like many previous contestants, was at first hesitant to be part of an act he felt he didn't need. But he soon realized Enright and Friedman would not have anyone jeopardize their grand scheme. Contestants were first trapped with the allure of winning huge sums of money, and with the fan adulation that followed, arm twisted into signing self-incriminating documents that, more or less, made mere actors of them. They were coached on what to say and how to say it. After all, this was show business. What Enright and Friedman didn't bargain on happening was Stemple hitting rock bottom, running to the press, and turning high-profile witness at a congressional hearing on allegations that some TV quiz shows of the day were being rigged.
Double-crossed them. The thought went through my mind, but Enright had promised me a future in television. He told me if I played along and took the dive, he'd do the following 3 things for me. Why did I go public? Because he didn't, obviously. It wasn't because I was conscience-stricken or, felt bad about this.
Even more bizarre was the fact that Van Doren, who by then had translated his fame on 21 to a hosting position on The Breakfast Show Today, was missing. The Robert Redford-directed movie, Quiz Show, captures the events leading up to the ensuing scandal, and even 4 decades later, America's bigger fascination with flawed celebrity.